Happy solar eclipse day, everyone! For those of you that can feel it, isn't it phenomenal? It's just like this, I don't know, quiet. It's such a quiet yet really, really powerful energy that I can just feel vibrating in my entire body. I felt it this morning. During the eclipse, it was a little stronger, but just really, really powerful. So please share some of your experiences with that. But what I want to talk about is love and light. That's my thing. We've taught it to my kids. We just say it to each other, love and light. I drop them off at school, love and light, send love and light to friends and family. I'm constantly sending love and light out. But what I've come to realize with a lot of the change, the racist stuff that's going on in the United States right now, it isn't always the answer. So I remember posting some strong beliefs that I had that I thought were common sense, and that I thought, someone would just sit and listen, and I could explain, this is what happens to people when people are treated this way, and it's just kind of common sense and everyone would get it. But then all of a sudden I started getting attacked. I would post these little things just on my Facebook page, and I was like attacked by people who weren't even my friends on Facebook, that had no clue who I was, just starting to attack me. And in the beginning, I started to take it personally I started to take it personally, thinking it was something that I did or something that I said. You're shaking. And I soon came to realize that there was no conversation with any of these people. There was no having dialogue with them, because they would just attack. And when they would go into attack mode, I would go into shutdown mode, because I had no words. There was nothing that I could say or do. So then I was just kind of allowed myself to be paralyzed and not speak my truth anymore, because I didn't want to be attacked, which was ultimately what they were trying to do, and it completely worked. And so now, with everything that's going on in the country with, the white supremacists and all of that, I recently had this beautiful friend reach out to me and share some of her experiences, and she's a white woman. Before I get into that, though, I did get into the heaviness after our president was elected. I did get stuck into the fear, and I felt myself going into a depression, feeling hopeless, all of that stuff, as many of us did. And so that's when I had to pull out my love and light card again. So pulling out the love and light card, I got to live in this moment where I have power over my happiness, and that's what I started doing. Well, this beautiful friend of mine, Jerry, I love you, sent me a couple articles, and if you're interested, I can actually share. If anybody shows interest, I'll share them. But sent me a couple of articles and some beautiful, human, vulnerable stories of her own that she basically shared. And it's basically like, love and light is not cutting it. And I was like, damn it, she's so right, because I was just trying to stay right here in this moment. And of course, doing what I can for people, my community. When people are being crappy, I tend to try to just help as many as I can to, feel good about themselves. And of course, it helps me to feel good about myself. But she's saying we can't just keep going back to this love and light. I mean, it was a lot more to the conversation than that, but this is one piece of it. We've got to sit in this. We've got to sit in this. We've got to get dirty. We have to feel vulnerable, and we have to talk about it. And that is really what we need to do, is we have to talk about our emotions and what is happening, especially in the US right now. Allowing ourselves to really feel it and take it in, because once you do that, as I've said a million times before, that's when we begin to release. That's when our cells begin to open up, and we begin to open up and free ourselves. Feel that uncomfortable energy that you don't want to feel, and it begins to actually open up your energy. It's like we spend so much time avoiding it and running from it, and once we sit in it, it's freeing. And that's basically what I'm asking you guys to do, is so, of course, still continue with the love and light, but also continue with feeling what you're feeling, being vulnerable, and having dialogue with people. And if you don't know where to begin, ask me. I'm happy to jump in, but I know that there are so many people out there who are willing to sit with you in this and all this heaviness. Another person I really need to recommend is Brene Brown. Did a 30-minute video on everything that's been going on. So go to her Facebook page and check that out, because she's right on it. And I have to say, I recently reread a book called Black Like Me. And in the book, he talks about how he said, this gentleman, white gentleman from Texas, decides that he is going to be extremely courageous and go down into the South as a black man. So he changed the pigment of his skin and basically lived as a black man and fully got and understood what black humans were going through in America in the Deep South in 1959. And so people would bring him in to get his expert advice. And he kept saying, why don't you bring in the blacks and ask them what they feel? So they'd bring in like one token black guy, they'd ask a question, the black guy would answer it, and they'd be like, whatever. And then as soon as he would answer it, they're like, oh my gosh, what a burst of insight. We're funny as humans. So that's really what I get with Brene Brown, is when she's able to say, hey, this is what's going on. It's sticky, it's nasty. You don't want to be affiliated with it, so you hurry up and shame someone, or you hurry up and put it off on something else, or change the subject and talk about Obama, or, you know, whatever you want to do, instead of sitting with it and feeling how freaking uncomfortable it is, and how so many minorities have been made to feel in the United States. So what I'm asking is just to start somewhere. So love and light is great, but it isn't always the answer. Sometimes we just got to get extremely uncomfortable, extremely dirty, sit in our mess, and then eventually it will begin to dissipate a little bit. And then we can take steps forward together and bring it back to the love and light and bring it back to the community. So this one was a little bit more challenging of a conversation for me than usual, but I'm happy to answer any questions about myself personally and what I'm feeling, and I would love to hear about what you're feeling. And I think that's it. Stay blessed, peeps. Thank you so much for taking the time.